Morning, and thank you everyone for joining. Today we have Elisio Mavie, who's going to be speaking with us. Elisio graduated at UKZN in 2007 and is now practicing in Maputo, Mozambique. He started his career here in Durban with a design workshop and has worked for some reputable firms in Maputo, now running his small studio, Atelier Elisio Mavie. His work is mainly inspired by modern architecture, particularly his tropical approach witnessed from the 60s to 70s period of Maputo's modern architectural heritage. In the creation process, it tries to bring rationality to construction, simple forms, local solutions, and economy with attention to detail. Elisio, over to you.
Yes, good morning. Thank you,
Morning.
Skura. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I hope this goes well. So, as you said, I was graduate from University of KwaZulu-Natal, but I'll take you a little bit back because before that, I went to technical schools in Mozambique. Actually, I did all my basic education in Mozambique. And at some stage, I started the technical schools for the basic level, and then I went to a medium level. It's some sort of a tech for South Africa on construction, on some sort of a basic and medium civil engineering course. So I was introduced to the industry before I went to university. And the process of going to South Africa wasn't straight. I first tried to apply for architecture in Maputo, in the biggest university we have here called Eduardo Mondlane. And in the old years, that was the only school of architecture in the country. So the it was tough. It was tough to get into it. So I applied for twice. The first time I applied, I couldn't get it, and I started working. And while working, I was introduced to a particular consultant, a Brazilian company, a Brazilian guy with a local company practicing in Maputo, and but my idea was to carry on studying. So I applied for the second year, and before I finished, before I get accepted or not, I was already applying for South Africa as well. In the meantime, I was starting a private university. Since in the olden days there wasn't another school of architecture, I was forced to do civil engineering. It wasn't really what I wanted to do, but that was the only thing available. So I enrolled for a semester, and I got accepted for University of KwaZulu-Natal for engineering, because that was almost the straightforward way to apply for South Africa with no much. So the process of application could be smooth. So I went to South Africa to study civil engineering, and I did the first year. After that, I was convinced that wasn't the way forward. So I started applying for architecture while in South Africa. In the second year, I started enrolling architecture, and that's how literally everything started on this perspective. And when I finished, since I started civil engineering, and with the time for studying architecture, I was anxious to come back to my country and started to serve. So immediately after I finished, I came back to Mozambique, and the experience wasn't really good because I was so energetic about applying my principles of architecture, what I've learned, and the firm I worked wasn't really exciting. So I decided to go back to South Africa after 3 months, and I had opportunity to work for OMM. Previously, it's a design workshop now. On the olden days, it was called OMM Design Workshop. So I went there for my practical year, and I stood there, I think, for a year and a half. It was pitiful that I didn't travel abroad because most of my friends took that opportunity to go abroad. But since I was anxious to come home and the experience wasn't good, I went to South Africa for that particular opportunity, and that's how it started. So um, after that short period of time, I decided to come back to Mozambique, and I went to work for a very exciting company, a small company called Studio 4. Stood there for some time and then went back to my old employee, which was a company, which was more of a civil engineering company, but it was an environment I was used to it. Just for reference, um, in the olden days, we used to be literally the only company that would design all filling stations in the country. So I was already introduced to that. When I went back to the company, we kept on doing the same thing, designing filling station, sometimes with other nature of projects. Um, and then I collaborated with a number of companies up until I decided to go do myself, open my own studio. And uh, when that happened, most of our work was residential projects, but that vein of filling station from that time to now is still the big part of our work. I would say the corporate work that we do, 40% have to do with petroleum industry or filling stations or depots, these kind of things. And obviously, it's not the most exciting job, but that's what keeps us busy most of the time. And whenever we get the opportunity to do good architecture, we take it seriously. So that's pretty much the background of where I'm coming from. As the title of my presentation says, whenever we have opportunity, we try to bring our elements, principles, and these are pretty much what we try to do in our practice, and to design architecture the more responsible way we can, with the human in the center of it, trying to incorporate local materials, local technologies, even though it's a bit hard, because our practice, we're not relying on big projects in general. We rely on individuals and sometimes some corporate jobs, but most of the works are individuals, and most time we actually helping people build their first house, the first homes, and it's an exciting that in that sense. But being an architect of Maputo and Mozambique, it has a particular aspects to consider, because in general the country or the city is not, I mean, everything still have to be done. This is an economy, this is an informal economy mostly. um, the government or the municipalities, they're literally absent in the planning of the city. So people are just building in general. There's a lot of land available, not in the center city, but the bigger Maputo, because Maputo is now spreading widely, and we have three centers, three or four urban centers in the bigger Maputo. You have the center Maputo, you have another district called Matola, we have Maracuén, and we still have another one called Boan. So the city is spreading, and people are going for cheaper land where services are not there, infrastructure not there, and people have to do literally everything from taking water there, electricity, everything. And we are part of this because we have to take the people doing which they're doing informally, trying to orientate them how to do it properly. And most of the constructions in the city are not even licensed, for your knowledge. So that's the kind of context that we live in. And sometimes we have opportunity to design projects in organized area where the infrastructure is there, where the regulations are there to be applied. But in general, that's not the case. And we're talking about Maputo. We're not even talking about other provinces and districts. So it is an informal economy. It's more of a medium income, medium low or low income in general. So basically we're helping people to build in general. But as I said, most of the work has to do with housing, but sometimes we have opportunities to do other natural works. So I'm going to take you through some of the works, and the first work that I'm taking through is one that tells about the story of the architecture we apply or I apply, the elements, the principles, and most importantly, this was a project where I had to resolve my own issues of first house and first home. And the story is long, because when I grew up, my parents gave me a piece of land, to build in one of the neighborhoods in Maputo. When I graduated, I was convinced that wasn't the land I was going to build, because the area wasn't so exciting. The site was small, and I had the privilege to ask my dad, can I get another one? And he didn't really respond well. So my first four salaries, first four salaries, I used it to buy a land for my first house. And I managed to do it in 4 months. Land, in fact, is if you're not in the center city, it's not that expensive. Yeah, I mean, it's still expensive because it took me 4 months of the full salary, but we can still afford. People can still afford with the risk of moving out of town. But as I said before, that's the normal tendency. So I went to buy the land, and I think I bought it early too much because there was an infrastructure as well. No reliable electricity, no water yet, with the promises of water coming. So I went back to my dad and I said, can we exchange? Because he had one big land which I liked. He also liked it. Can we exchange the one that you have with the one that I bought? And he agrees. They agreed. Immediately, I started design the project. Before that, the land was almost 2 hectares. It was a massive land to me. And I designed my house where I would like to live with the facilities that I needed. And I also designed the studio where I would work. And my idea was that I would always live and work and live in the same place. And that principle, I think, is still valid up to today. But in this situation, as I said, I designed house and a studio, And since I didn't have much means to build everything at the same time, even I started with the main house, and I stopped it, and I decided, no, maybe I should build the studio. Being a small building, I could build it in a real time and start using as a housing while I build the main one. And that's what happens. What you see on the screen is the site that I'm talking about. And during the time, the site was split into two. As you see here, there's a road. Because the government wanted to pass an electric line, and they actually didn't ask any permission. They just did it. When that happened, that belonged to my dad, and my dad was a peaceful man and never fought about it because they should have compensated him. What happened is the site was split into two, so I decided to build the studio on the left part of the site, and the house on the right hand side. And the site was still too big. And what I did was, what you see on the screen is the studio that I built. It was a very simple building. I'm not sure if you're listening. Sorry, guys, are you listening?
Yes, all clear, Elisio.
Oh, perfect.
All clear, thanks.
Yeah, it's a bit strange to be talking.
No, we hear.
Yeah. So what you see is the initial stage of the house. This was something that I designed to be a studio, and ended up to be where I started my life. I started my family. I resolved my problem of housing, which is an issue for all the youth, especially here in Mozambique, where you don't have financing systems. People are in fact built with their incomes, with their savings. I was lucky enough to build it somehow a bit fast because I managed to build it within a year and a half, I think. I was fortunate enough to be during those years. It was in 2008, exactly when the crisis came, financial crisis came. I was lucky to be working on big projects for dry port for Luanda, Angola, and I was being paid in dollar on those days, and I managed to build the studio, the house, the small house quickly for our reality, a year and a half. And I moved to the house with my family while building the main house. So that studio where you see my family staying is where the workshop is. And there was a toilet for the office, the kitchen, which the kitchenette, which you use as a kitchen, the staircase that you see here leaded to the meeting room, which I split into two, where part of it became a small room, bedroom, and another one was the meeting room. So I had an arrangement that worked for a residence and also for architecture studio. So this was my beginning, where I tried to have a little fun. You realize throughout the project that we do that you'll always see big gates, burglary bars, and strong elements of which might be strange for you guys, but here these elements are quite common. All the houses literally have burglary bars, and in this one I had this huge pivoted gate, which was the security that we needed, because when you're out of the center city, the issue of security is real. So that's one element which is always there in all buildings, not only mine, in everyone's building. And my my concern or the challenge for us is always to try to do that element acceptable, pleasing, humane above all, because living in a house with burglary bars, security burglary bars is awkward. It's awkward, and you'll get surprised that all the houses, even in the center city, it's crazy. You see high-rise buildings, people on the seventh floor still have burglary bars in front of the facade. So it's how it is. So that's the house that we lived, and when we moved to the new house, we converted that house into a studio. We returned it to the original function, and what you see is it was the process when we were doing the final touches of the renovation of the space, and this was quite fun exercise. It was a period where we started organizing our practice, being a bit more professional. The place was 40 kilometers from the center city of Maputo, and I insisted that my office should be there because I was living there. Luckily enough, our clients would drive there 40 kilometers, and I would find that amazing. And people would ask why. The general understanding here is that everybody works and studies in the center city, and I was one of these few that would do it out of the city. So, but I was lucky enough the clients could still go there, and this is what became the environment that we managed to work for a number of years, where the living room now back to the studio as designed, as taught before, and the experience was amazing. But the whole process of creating the space, well, we try to engage with our staff, with the local community, especially local artisans. All the materials are from that area. All the people that did some work, even the studio guys, our colleagues, some came from the same area. So we always try to make it sustainable for us and for the people that work. That they should. One of the requirements was we were employing people from close by. Whoever who came to do work should be from close by, etc., etc. And all the furniture, lighting, almost all the elements were designed and crafted in the area. The lighting that you see here, it was done by us. Actually, this is a concrete lighting that we molded it and we polished and got it to be in that shape, and we put the spotlight and made it unique. And you'll see this kind of lights or others in other projects of ours. But the furniture, lighting, everything was designed by us. So this was the atmosphere inside. This is part of our team in certain time of our existence. And this was the meeting room. As you can see, the same lighting is there, the furniture, everything done by us. Just for reference, I have a big passion for furniture design and production. In fact, I had a small factory of sofas, and I wanted to do more products. And the factory worked for some time, but I had to close it because I couldn't bridge the production and the sale and the client. We are not having much orders because I had to put more investment, and during those days it was very difficult to invest. and I ended up closing the factory, but the vein of designing and producing was still there in such a way that I would say 90% of the furniture of all the spaces we have used and lived throughout the years, it was done by us. So we design it. If it's a drawer or any we design it, do the cut drawings and send it to cut, and then we screw it and we make it ourselves. Whenever there is a steel work, you call a welder from close by to do the work while we're designing. We see them doing in the courtyard welding or cutting or doing anything, and then we assemble together. So all the furniture was done on site. With our hands, the most we could, with local people, local craftsmen, and our colleagues as well. And that house, that studio that we worked for a number of years, after we moved, because in some point in time, we moved to the center city. So we ended up having the studio available, and even the main house was still available. And we exchanged the studio into a weekend house, a rental weekend house, and this is pretty much how the studio is now. It's used now for events, parties, or weekend short stay accommodation, and weekend accommodation or weekend house, and that's pretty much how it is now. And next, I'm going to take you through the main house, which was another amazing experience we had. And as I said earlier, this is the site that we had, and when we were trying to finish the house, the struggle to finance it was so little, and we had to sell parts of land and to manage to finance the house. So the plots in the middle are the ones that were sold, and we managed to finish the house. The house that I'm talking is the one on the left-hand side. So, as I said, the site was vast. It was a normal site, and the initial design was a double-story building, which we have started before 2007. But when we decided to restart, because it was stopped to build a smaller house, the studio. When we decided to return to the building of the main house, we redesigned it to make it a one-story house. I think it was a good idea. First, because it dropped price. Secondly, we could see how the neighborhood was developing. And the tendency was that being a simple neighborhood, everybody was building low. So we decided to do the same. And the plan, the house was facing north. Since the site was enormous, I became scared, if that's the term. When you have this big site, becomes overwhelming. And in the olden days, we had so many dreams. We thought that we're gonna build so much. We still have the whole life to fill this site with so many houses, so many things we were dreaming of. And in fact, that never happened. What happened is the main house ended up at the back of the yard, with this huge front yard available, but we still kept some backyard. That's where we at the end of the project, because this was a project which we did in phases. The first thing was the main house that you see on, we see a plan here, has the plan here. And secondly, we had to build the tower. The tower is the yellow thing on the top right hand corner, because the tower is the water tower, because we had the water tower on the first site where the studio is, but that wasn't working, so we decided to build another one on the new site. So what we came with was a linear building, first in north, first in the main front yard. What you see here is the tower that I'm talking about. This one here, which was mainly built as a water tower, but ended up having services on the ground. My home office on the first floor, and then the tower hidden on top. And the issue of security is also exercised here, where we designed these burglary bars with a timber slats, a screen. Since we had these big windows and doors, we could gain back our privacy. Mostly because most of the time the site wasn't fenced. We only fenced the site in the later stage, and that aspect made us think that privacy could be important, and we obviously got a solar control with that, even though the slats, the timber screen is vertical, but still worked. And the pattern of light that would bring inside was interesting as well. And this is pretty much how the house became. And in this house, we tried to bring our principles, our elements, where the simple forms are there, the planes, the perforated walls, the play of light. It was an amazing experience. You'll see throughout this and other projects that we try to always integrate the house with the environment, with the site. The relationship inside outside is important. So for this one, we made all the doors and burglary bars, everything openable when possible. That wasn't done every day, but whenever we have opportunity, whenever we get visitors, especially kids in the house, we open the house the more we can. And the experience was amazing. It was amazing experience to use the house. We're not using the house anymore. As I said, we moved to center city, but the experience was amazing. And all the furniture, as I said, inside and outside was produced by us. In this project and most projects, we always try to bring light in the house. We had a number of skylights in this one, in the kitchen, in the living room, toilets, literally everywhere there was skylights. Amazing enough, when we wake up in the morning, before you even open the curtains, the light was still there. So it's something that we still trying to do whenever we can. It's amazing experience, amazing space that we create whenever we have opportunity to bring light in. So with time, as I said, the other elements started to come into play. Like we built a swimming pool, and we arranged the entertainment space more. So this was more of a fun project. a house for the architect, obviously, but a place where we could have fun, because it's not always possible to apply and be despite passionate with the projects from our clients. And this was like our canvas where we could do whatever we could. And this house was called after a tree called Umbila. This is a tree that we met when we found on site when we arrived there, and we decided to keep. As you see, the tree is perforating the slab, and we kept that. And the tree changes throughout the year. This is a particular tree that most people here will use for timber. In fact, it's the timber that everybody loves for its color. It's called the umbile, as I said. People use it for furniture, for doors, and I mean, literally everything is the most loved timber. And we were lucky to have it there. When we arrived, we didn't actually know the tree, and somebody called our attention to that tree and said, "Ah, we're keeping it," and the tree's there. Uh, More slides on on the the house. Now, I would like to talk a little bit about this tower, because this one was also a place for experimentation, as a building, as a process of building, because you'll see throughout most of our project, we always have these hollow blocks, which are elements that you find a lot in Maputo or Mozambique. You not only find in these days, you can find an old colonial heritage of the city applied a particular way in the facades for shading or solar control. And we always try to use it as much as we can, for its cheapness. It's a cheap material where you can find everywhere, but most of the hollow blocks that we use, actually we build the mold ourselves. We are inspired by existing molds, but we always try to design our own mold and produce our own molds, our own blocks. This was the case. This was a mold with some sort of a regular shape, which when the mason was laying, the principle was the mold couldn't be laid the same position in the next block of that line and the following line. So that helped us to get this random pattern, which we have applied in a number of projects. But this is where we started, and the experience was amazing. As you can see, the light effect is also light effect, and the privacy is interesting because on the top, that's where our studio is, our home studio was. And this is pretty much the space where I used to do my work when I was at home. And from the top there, I could see everything, the bigger yard, the house, the access gates, even the main studio, which was one road ahead. It could be seen from the top here, through the hollow blocks or through the corner window that we had. So this is pretty much those two projects tell a lot about the where our practice started, the kind of enthusiasm we might have. and we try to apply in more projects, but sometimes we're not fortunate enough because clients some don't accept experimentations, elements that they're not used to it, and the particular blocks that told you about, most people only use for boundary wall now. You'll see those blocks being sold on the roads, on the roads in the bairros, the neighborhoods. So people buy them and use only for the boundary walls. And the boundary walls here are a serious issue. It's not like South Africa where people build wire fences, light material fences. People here build boundary walls with blocks, solid boundary walls. So whenever you'll see the hollow blocks, they're mostly applied in boundary walls. And we try to bring them to our buildings, make them facades. We try to apply them in different way, different shapes, different patterns for different effects. But sometimes it's difficult to have our clients to accept it, which is to us a bit pity. The next project is a house that are called a courtyard house. It was one of the first projects that we did. As I said, we do a lot of residential projects, and this one was a house of an engineer and friend, very established engineer here in Maputo. And he wanted to build this house in a very small, I would say very small, because it was a 20 by 40 site in the very busy neighborhood where people couldn't afford the bigger sites than this. And he had this big dream for that site, a big house with all amenities like a TV. People here in those years used to love big houses with cinema rooms and all this kind of thing, gymnasiums and bigger houses. So we went designing this house where the house was wrapping around a central courtyard where we designed the pool crossing the main courtyard, and since this was there was too much concrete in the site, the small site, to accommodate all the needs of this client. We proposed a green wall, as you see, to try to soften the house. And the outcome was what you see. There was quite a number of alterations of the facade, especially the front facade. The client didn't really do, our engineer and client didn't really comply with what we designed, but the essence of the project was still there. As I said, the more amazing space, the more interesting space is the courtyard, and that was kept. The house even have an elevator, and as I said, everything revolves about the courtyard, the center courtyard. This was one of the first projects, reasonably executed with an alteration from clients on the front facade, but I think we were happy at the time. The next project is a cultural center, which we designed for a very special client. The client is a medical doctor, an activist. Daily activist is very vocal, very interventive in the city, in the country, and in this case, he was actually being a cultural activist. This was an investment from his family, to the community. In fact, he built a school. He built a school, private school, in the next door property, which was already functioning, and he bought this other piece of land from an old guy that owns this huge farm full of mango trees and and other fruit trees in general, but especially mango trees. And the site was he was lucky enough to have quite a number of trees, which the brief was to keep most of the trees as possible. And we tried to build, to design a building on the north and the south corner to not to obstruct the site, and also try to save trees. The brief was to build an amphitheater for 120 people, and to allow the space to accommodate fairs, events like parties, but especially to be used as a cultural space for the school and the community. And what happened is the building during the day is used by the school for learning, so the kids come in for learning, play, and other activities. After 4, the gates are open for the community, so the community could come and also play and have other activities to do. During the execution of the project, we had more elements added to it. As I said, the first element was the amphitheater, allowing for these activities to happen. But the concept of the cultural center grew to a point where the client wanted to do a homage to the Chapasang. Chapasang is the taxi. It's called a taxi here is to commute, commuting taxi. A Chapasang here is called Chapasang because in the olden days we used to pay sang. Sang is 100 meticais. We pay 100 meticais for Chapasang, for the taxi. So the Chapasang is not 100 anymore. Actually, our currency have changed. For a reference, now Chapasang is 15 meticais because of the inflation. The number is so we are paying millions, thousands, billions, and they rearrange the currency, they reduce the number of zeros. So we're now paying 15 meticais, but we still call them Chapasang. And this was a culture center to homage the Chapasang, the taxi, which for our clients was important, and actually believe and agree with him. It's an important element to our city, because of the urban sprawl, lack of infrastructure, lack of public transportation system in the transport itself, lack of investment, public investment on that. And the Chapasang, the taxis, the taxis are like heroes, yeah. And they drive, they take people from point A to B with very difficult conditions. The roads in the bairros, in the neighborhoods, are very, very bad, in bad conditions. And obviously the taxis are also in very bad conditions. So the clients want to do an homage to that. For its meaning, especially going back to when he was a student and used to use it. The middle class people here are not using taxis anymore. because they're so, I mean, they can afford in principle, but they are not reliable. The taxis, the transportation system here is not reliable, so all the middle class people are not using it, but they're still special to us. Uh, they're still special to us and special, especially for my client, for specific reason, and not only that. And then product was this building in the space, and this was an event where he invited us to go for invited me to present to his friends um, what we have done. We were completing we have just completed the building. We are starting to do other infrastructures, including the some sort of a Chapasan museum, where we had to Chapasan to Texas on site, and we had to transform them. One of the Chapasans was transformed into a library, where you wanted to collect books for kids, to go there, for the community, kids of the community to go there and read. Another one was converted into small cafe, snake bar, where you could serve to the people whenever there's an event. So this was pretty much the setting. You can see the school on the other side of the site, and this was on the left slide. Picture of the slide is the construction of the little, I would say, a little museum for the Chapasan. And the right hand Chapasan is the one for the cafe, and the left hand one is the one for the library. And this is almost complete now, and the community is actually using. I've been there for a couple of times for some events and see the space working. I think it's serving its purpose. And what you see now is the taxi, and remodel somehow. And I had to actually take the mess the guy who did the interior myself, and try to do with him to achieve some sort of acceptable result, because it's very difficult to do some work in relatively irregular shaped space, and this was pretty much what we did with our hands. And actually now they have much more books by now, but those are the pictures that I took at some point in time. And as I said, the space is in general is well used. The community goes there literally every Saturday. Kids go there for activities, for plays, for book fairs, food fairs. It's an interesting thing happening there. Next, I'm gonna take you through about one specific work, nature of work that we do. As I said earlier, before I went to university, I was already doing filling stations, and we have specialized somehow specialized in this field of work. And this filling station that I'm going to talk about is a little bit special for us, because after working for so many years doing filling station for literally all the petroleum companies, BP, Total, Petromonk, local one, Just Petro. On the olden days, we used to have Mobil. We did for engine, literally all of them. And now this kind of field has been opened literally for everyone, and we flooded with the Chinese companies in town. So these clients were Chinese, and they just arrived. They asked us to design their module of filling stations to be built throughout the country. So it was an exciting exercise, creating a product from scratch. As I said, we generally design and build for established petroleum companies. Now we were given opportunity to design for literally a non-existing, which you have to create from scratch. So we even went to improve their branding, their logos, and we tried to design the simple way, as always. We collaborated with another company called Quito. They're a designing company in town, which we collaborated in a number of projects, and altogether we designed and branded, create the identification, corporate identification for the company, for the company and the buildings. And we went designing the filling station itself, which they have already started building some in the country and expect to grow and compete with the rest. So this is what we came up with, the main signage, the name of the shop. There is a tendency of calling each shop or the shops itself, giving it a name, and we came up with the name for it, the branding, the signage, the corporate identification, everything. And the Chinese built it. It was a bit challenging because it's always difficult to get clients to comply, especially to Chinese. Very, very difficult. But we managed to meet halfway, and this is the result of the first one which they built. So this to us was a special project for that sense, where we brought it from stage one to the end, and now we're trying to improve for the next finish stations to be built, and that's the process. The next project, I'm going to be talking about the regular projects that we do, which are mainly houses. And earlier, I said that we actually try to help people build their first houses the best way we can, with simple processes, simple available materials, existing technologies, and within the budget. So this is a house that we built in Intaka. Intaka is a neighborhood by Matola. One of these neighborhood where everything's still under construction, with not much of infrastructure as general Beirut. And we're trying to help a special friend of ours to build this first house. And we came up with this simple plan. And this planning of this house is pretty much standard, or its principles are applied in general for most of the projects, where we try to, as I said, to come up with simple form, simple material, available resources. And the planning, we always have the living room seen open to the backyard, and that relationship to the backyard obviously there's always the grade. Grade is the barley bar, and the normal tendency, as I said earlier, the boundary walls are always made of hollow blocks, and we keep the tendency. We try to do it as everybody does, our way. And this time we did this long boundary wall with hollow blocks. In fact, the hollow blocks were produced on site, which is, as always, the norm as much as we can, and that's what you see in one of the pictures. The blocks being produced, and the boundary wall there done. The main facade was west side, was west facing facade. So we needed also to control the sun, and we used the opportunity to apply the hollow blocks again. And I'll take you through to the next slide, where you can see the hollow blocks there for solar control. The issues of security dealt. That main door is actually a fourth door. It is a double steel plate door. You only have that little strip of glass to communicate inside outside, but that's a fort house. We try to do the fort to create this house as a fort, because most of the bairros are not safe, unfortunately, and we as architects have that responsibility to deliver buildings that respond the most humane way, even though the gradage, all these elements are not humane, but we have to try to make them humane. And this was what we came up with. So the backyard has the relationship to the indoor space, and the grade, the boundary bar can fully open and allow that communication. So this is the Intaka house. Again, as in general, we do lots and lots of housing. And the next project is about a house that we built for this couple. Again, this is also a special project because we did this house for a family which is somehow close to us, and a family which knew exactly what they wanted, and that negotiation about what they wanted and what could be the response to that was a bit challenging. They literally were trying to make us do a copy of something, and that negotiation was very hard, but I think at the end we managed. What happened is we came up with the first design, and again, for record, this is a west, the front facade, it's a east side facade, meaning that the backyard is facing west, and we try to avoid that side, make the house open to the north. Amazingly enough, the client wanted it to open to the west. So the first proposal wasn't accepted. We had to design the second one, the third one, and when we reached the final proposal and it was approved, I was devastated. I was a bit tired of the project and not excited anymore because we were literally forced to do things instead of what we thought was more responsible to do. But anyway, it was what it was approved, and it was a very old project. It took, I think, 2 or 3 years to start construction after project. One day the client calls 2 years, 3 years after, and he says they want to start building, and I got worried because with time I knew that project wasn't really right. What happened is we always try to make linear buildings, since the north is the side is facing the side of right hand side of the site, and the front facade used to be narrow, and the site is a bit wide, and the client wanted the building to be wide on the front side, meaning that we would have the building wide on the west facade, obviously. And that to me wasn't right. And we went through that process. He approved. And I said, no, I should do something. I should do something, especially now that we want to start building. And in the dark, in the silence, I designed another project, which I thought it was what the client wanted and what the client would approve. We designed it, we made the architecture of it, and I called the client and say, sorry, guy, before you start building, can I present you another project? Because the previous version wasn't, yeah, maybe you can we see the new proposal? So we presented it, and the client liked it. And also time is a good thing. I got to know more the client, and we have developed our practice a little bit. And I thought, I think I have better tools to convince the client on something that we can negotiate both views. And this is what came up, and the client approved. And we went into structured design and other parts of the project. And finally, the house is under construction, is well under construction. And the result is not, to me, it's acceptable. Again, as you see in the initial design, what we wanted to do is to bring timber screen to the boundary wall, and for sustainable reasons, the client preferred hollow blocks, which we applied pretty much how people do in Mozambique. And the regulations are pretty much like this, where you have to build around 1 meter solid wall, and then the rest above should be open to the road. So we did it, not really according to what we designed initially, but the result is acceptable. And that hollow block wasn't the one that I would use, because for this project specifically, we designed a particular hollow block mold to be applied. We managed to have it applied in part of the building, but the wife liked it, but the husband didn't. So when the time came to build the boundary wall, he went to buy this particular one on the sides of the roadsides, where you see a lot of production of this kind of materials, but still, I think still acceptable. And the project, the hollow blocks that I wanted to apply on the boundary wall is the one that you see here. Is this one that you see here? I wanted to we wanted to take it through the whole project, and again, we were not successful on that one. Anyway.
Elisio,
Yes.
sorry to disturb you. The spacing on those openings, is it hard to is it not does it prevent someone from climbing it in terms of it being used as a boundary wall?
Yeah, in fact, it helps people to climb. Uh, it helped people to climb, but people still use it. In this case, the client already put electric fence, as you see,
Yeah.
to prevent, but it does help. It's a fact. It does help.
Mm.
But as a material, it's quite effective because here it's cheap. In my case, I build the mold, so the blocks are done on site. It's quite effective. Um, we have issues here with the hollow blocks. As I said, they are widely used in the city. Some family have issues with privacy because society here is quite unequal, and people are trying as much as they can to keep their lives private. And the hollow blocks that everybody has doesn't help. In most cases, you see people closing them with cement, and sometimes they put other materials. Other successful people put plants, and that's what this client wants to put is to plant something inside to block to gain the privacy. But yes, it's not really safe when other measures are not in place to allow that to
I
happen.
see,
People
see.
can jump.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. This is what's coming up. We're excited about this one, and I think time is running. I think I should run as well. um,
It's fine. You can wrap up. You can use the next like
all right.
7, 10 minutes. That's okay.
Yeah, but I'm almost there. So this was the experience of this specific client, the negotiation to achieve the result that we can. It's never ending challenge, even during the process. The wife is very vocal. She knows what she wants, and it's interesting in that sense. And we developed a lot of skills on how to deal with that because we never so most of the time we're not even allowed to build what we wanted, what we expected, what we believe, and this one has been a hell lot of experience. This next one is about a house that we built. Is under construction in Nampula. Nampula is a northern province of the country. For another interesting client, which wanted a house. They have a way to stay. They want some sort of a dream house, and pretty much and this kind of house are pretty much what successful people here are building, middle high income people are building. So we went designing this house also in a very small site. I think it was 15 by 40, if I'm not wrong, where we had to accommodate all their needs, including parking. They have quite a number of cars. So on the left hand side is where we try to arrange for parking, and they could actually take some cars to the back. And the construction is underway, and the results is pretty much what you see. And it has been also a good experience, but not being able to inspect, which is another challenge that we encounter here. People take projects and start building, but at least this one is communicative. You get the people on site to call, ask for questions, and things are going smoothly. Uh, and I think you might end up having a good product here. And that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Elisio. I absolutely
Mm.
love the elegance with which your buildings are conceived. Thank you so much for sharing. Are you very much involved in the construction? I know that you spoke about the furniture and the fittings. How involved are you in the actual construction?
I am involved. I'm involved whenever it's possible, but most of our projects, friends projects, and some clients, including the amphitheater and the culture center, for example, some houses we are very involved in the construction process as well. Yes, whenever possible, we get involved.
Okay, thanks. And then you were talking a bit about the submission process. Can you just elaborate how that works? You were saying it's perhaps not as strict as you would know it in South Africa.
Yeah, that's right. Here we have different municipalities. The regulation, we have a general regulation, national regulation, which was inherited from the colonial time. It has never been changed. We inherited the cities, the built environment, the regulation, and still applied today. With the bit variations on in Maputo, in this Maputo city, Maputo municipality, but very small. So we are still stuck with the old regulations. Um, but the fact is, the municipalities, yeah, are not up to speed. They're always trying to reach um, people's speed because they lack resources, technical resources and other resources, and people are actually building faster than municipality can control. And that's the challenge. But they have their regulations. Whenever you build in the center cities, you have to comply. The regulations are very sometimes a bit annoying because we could do better. We never understand why things are done a specific way. Uh, they are a little bit difficult to negotiate, but that's how it is. And sometimes we actually take the chance whenever you build somewhere where there's no municipality, because there are places with no municipalities, no fiscalization, no nothing. So people are just building. Even us as professionals, we design, but whenever we apply for licenses, those districts, they don't have adequate people. They literally approve whatever you submit. If they don't, it's more because there's a lot of corruption. So it's more of an issue for that sense. But in general, people get approved with no hassle. People do detours. People do different. People don't obey, and sometimes, or most time, they get approved still. They're not so strict whenever a client can give them something. So it's very complicated. So it's a combination of factors, but there are regulations. Sometimes approved is applied. Some areas of the city, the municipality do fiscalization. They follow up, and you have to be careful because you might get your clients into trouble. But that's pretty much the situation.
Okay, thank you. Colleagues, questions and comments? Now, Elisio, another question is the safety situation with how you design fortified housing. Is it just a general situation of crime, or you are also anticipating a situation of let's say there's an unrest?
I would say it's more of anticipation. But that became an issue that you can't ignore because since the state doesn't provide the security that communities need, every individual needs to cater for that. You have to think of that. And for my projects, what I've learned throughout the years is that if I don't deal with that, my client will deal it. And the experience was the way they do it, not they could ruin your building. So I take that as part of the building. And yeah, so and that's not the only element that you should put to your security because you can still get robbed, if I may say. People combine security, burglary bars, electric fence, dogs, somebody presence in the house because the neighborhoods are uh, it's a mixed income with phenomena of that kind. So people are aware that's important factor, and we have to take action. And as architect, we try to incorporate that into our architecture.
Yeah, that's good. Good anticipation. Any comments, any questions? But thank you, man. Elisio, I think it's been good to see a view from across the Limpopo and how you approach things and how um you put so much heart and consideration into your work. Thank you so much for sharing that. I don't think anybody has any questions. Mr. Lever?
Thanks, Gura. Whole lot of questions, particularly about technology and about sustainability and maintenance that I'd just like to communicate with you. Do we have your email address? Elisio?
Yes,
We have.
Elisio Mavie altogether, my name at
Yeah.
gmail.com.
Oh, that's easy. Okay, super. I'll be communicating with you, but thanks very much for a terrific presentation and some lovely work. Well done.
Thank
Thanks
you
very
so
much.
much.
One
Thank
of
you.
the questions, of course, that I will be asking is, do you still use the pre-stressed, precast ribs and block construction for your slabs? But we'll communicate. There are a whole lot of questions about that, and again about um, collecting and using rainwater, how to deal with your very invasive climate that gets rid of surface finishes, particularly paint, fairly quickly. Anyway, Elisio, thank you very much. I'll write to you. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, Elisio, I'm not sure if you would like to say some closing remarks, but thank you for gracing us with your presence and just sharing your work with us. What do you feel you've learned as a practicing architect over the past few years, and what would be just your closing remarks of the talk today?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Skura. Thank you so much for the opportunity, for the honor to do this, and look forward to seeing you when I go back to South Africa. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for watching. Yeah, thank you so much.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Elisio.
Thank
And
you.
thank you everyone for joining us this morning. Wish everyone a good weekend.
Thank you. Goodbye.